Thank you for joining us today. I am Kasha Baldus, and I'm here with President of IRA Club, Mr. Dennis Blitz. And today we're going to talk about a special type of account for those who are self-employed and entrepreneurs. And we know that it could be difficult to navigate your own business. You have a lot on your hands, but this is something that we really want you to listen, because we want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the future. And the solo 401k can really do that with tax advantages. And Dennis will go into the details of who is eligible for a solo 401k, what are the contribution limits, and maybe some common mistakes that people can make that we can help you navigate so you don't make those mistakes. But again, if you are self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, whether you've had a business for many, many years or you're just starting your own business, you want to listen to this, because the solo 401k is a great account that you could have. I like to call it your silent business partner that could really set you up for success in the future. So I'll let Dennis take it away, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the solo 401k.
Thank you. Well, Kasha, what we have here is a lot of pulls at the entrepreneur. He's got a lot of things to worry about. One of the things that he forgets to worry about, or she forgets to worry about, is our age. You know, we are living in a period of time when we are going to live longer and longer and longer. The Pew Institute, which we use their research now and then, Pew Institute, Pew said that in 1950, not that long ago, there were about 2,000 people in America that were 100 years of age or older. 2,000. By the year 2000, there was, let me get the number for us, it was 51,000. It had grown 25 times. Now, we're talking about, or Pew is talking about, the explosion of age increase that's going to happen because, as we all know, in the last few years, new medications, new procedures have come out at a breakneck pace. It's affecting all of us, and there will be, by the year 2050, not that far away, over 500,000 people in America age 100. We are all going to live longer. You may not live to be 100. I may not live to be 100, but we're going to live a lot longer than we thought. We're going to need money because Social Security is going to, not be able to cover our cost of living. That's for sure. So we're going to need more money. Now, for those people who are self-employed, the government has a particularly generous plan. And generous is the only word I can think of. It's almost so generous that you shake your head and go back and read it a couple of times before you say, gee, that's what the plan really is. Self-employed person who is a sole proprietor and has no employees, this person is a special person in the code for some reason. And the reason seems to be the government says, or the Department of Labor says, if you are self-employed and have no employees, you are wearing two hats. You really are two people, and the Department of Labor sees you as two people. One, they see you as an employee. Why? Well, of course, you're the employee. You do all the work. You're going to, empty the waste paper baskets and make sure that, this was ordered and this came in and that, those things. But you're also the boss. You're going to set the prices. You're going to set the level of service. You're going to set those things that is mostly a boss function. And consequently, for that small group of people who are own a business and have no employees, and actually it's not really no employees, you can have one part-time employee, as many people do. Maybe you have a bookkeeper that comes in a couple times a week or a couple times a month. Maybe you have somebody else that comes in a couple times a month. But a part-time employee is defined as somebody's working 1,000 hours or less per year. That's okay. Get beyond that, then the plan changes. So let's talk about that person who has a business of their own. Now, you can have your career at your job. That's fine. And you've got, I don't want to say a side gig, because that sounds like I'm belittling it, and I'm not. But you can have a side gig. That business is yours, where you would qualify for this plan. Or you could just be a sole proprietor who works on their own. A lot of consultants, if you are a consultant, if you know a consultant, they're going to fall into this category very quickly. So let me tell you why this category is so exciting and why the Department of Labor uses the phrase two-hat theory to your advantage. The first thing is they say, well, this person is really the employee. They do all the work of an employee. And the employee, that's you, can put aside up to 100% of earnings, 100% of earnings, up to $23,500 per year. Now, wait a minute. An IRA lets you put in $7,000 a year, but the solo 401k lets the same person put in $23,500 a year. Just alone with that is an amazing benefit. Now, it can be Roth, where you pay taxes when it goes in on the income going in. However, you pay no taxes when you cash out after the age of 59 and a half, then there's no tax at all. I'm kind of partial to the Roth. Some people want a traditional plan where you don't pay taxes. You get a deduction that first year, but you do pay taxes on the way out. That's really up to you and your personal situation. Now, 23.5 is a pretty generous contribution, except that's not all. Because once you reach age 50, you get to make what's called the catch-up contribution. Now, whether you missed a contribution along the way or started late or whatever, you still get to make the catch-up contribution, and it is an additional $7,500, up to $7,500. So you can put in 23.5 once you're up to 23.5, up to age 50, and then you can put in 23 up to 23.5 plus 7,500. Now, there is one more bonus. And to be honest with you, I don't know why they put this in, but they did. So I'll tell you, there's an extra bonus, a catch-up bonus, for people who are age 60, 61, 62, and 63. So those 4 years you can put in, and let me look it up. What is it? It is $11,250 extra. This is a big, big contribution to your plan. Now, I'm not saying you have to put in $11,000, but it's up to. So for people who have their own business, and like I say, it could be a side gig, you have a job, but you also do this, or you're a consultant, or you are any one of 1,000 other things. Many, many people work their own business. Okay, I will give you an example. I have a personal friend who's an MD, and he is a radiologist. And after a while, didn't want to work for the radiology company he was working for, worked there many years, but wanted to just move around a bit. And he became a rent-a-doc. There's lots of rent-a-docs. If you have a hospital and one of your radiologists goes on vacation, you better replace that person. You'd call a rent-a-doc, radiologist, I guess. Or a person, is out sick for a while, you call a rent-a-doc. So many, many doctors, many, many dentists, many, many professionals in every field rent their services for a period of time. They're perfectly eligible for this plan. But let's go on. I said there was something called the two-hat theory. And the two-hat theory is very interesting. They say, well, wait a second. This person is wearing two hats. Remember, he's the employee, or she, and they're also the boss. And as the boss, they do all the things that bosses do. Okay. So can the boss make a contribution? Surprisingly, yes. You can make a contribution as the owner, and let me pull that number out for us. Wait a second. It is up to 25% of the company earnings, not to exceed up to $70,000. This is now a tremendous amount of contribution that you can make. Don't have to, can make. So let's say you put in $70,000 as the boss, and you put in the $23,500 as an employee. This is already over $100,000. The IRA lets you put in $7,000. This one lets you put in almost $100,000. You're going to be able to grow your account much, much faster. Make the investments that you want. It's a wonderful plan, and everybody should be, if you are self-employed, you should be considering it. Now, the business has to be a real business. In other words, you've got a checking account in the name of the business. You filed the name of the business with the state. You can, and there are people who say, "Oh no, I'm going to, not to tell the government I'm here and I'm going to put all the money in my pocket." Believe me, you're better off filing the name of the business, setting up the business properly, and then setting aside almost everything that you make for your future on a tax-deferred basis. It's a wonderful, wonderful plan, and don't miss it. If you aren't, if this isn't for you, you probably know somebody who it is for. There are a couple of things I do want to caution you on. One is plans are generated per person. So let's say I have a job during the day, and at the job, I donate money or I put money into my retirement account. Well, the 23.5 is a per person limit. So I put $6,000 in my plan at work. You can't put in, you have to be 23.5 less 6 into your 401k plan, your solo 401k plan. So just know those are per person. The boss thing, the owner thing, that you can still continue to do because you're not the owner of the company you work for. So very, very generous plan, and you should do it. Now, let's talk about some other people that might join you in this plan. What if you're married and your spouse helps you in the business? Very likely, very common. Can your spouse participate in the plan? Yes. The only rule is, it's a simple rule. The only rule is you have to file a joint return. If you file a joint return, the spouse gets the same benefits you get and can make these same contributions, tax now, but later completely tax-free in a Roth or in a traditional. Take the big deductions right now.
So what you're saying, Dennis, is that an individual who has a 401k at their current job is typically limited to contributing $23,500, or if someone has an IRA, they're limited to $7,000 or $8,000. And based on the numbers that you've just given us, someone is able to contribute almost 10 times as much into a solo 401k. Even if they have a job and then they have the side gig. So it's really amazing that they could put in a lot more money.
Amazing is the word I was going to use, because it is just the most generous plan that we can imagine, isn't it?
And so this is a great way that someone who is putting in, whether it's $70,000 or even $50,000, they are then able to invest that money because they have a lot more funds, a lot more investable funds, and they could choose investments, whether they're self-directed or not. But it really just allows them to go ahead and not only put money aside in a tax-advantaged account, but then they're able to make a lot more investments than someone who's just putting in $7,000.
That's right. And it's really making a lot more investments is a good idea. I will tell you that I talk to people all the time who have IRAs, and we talk to people who have $100 million in their IRA and $200 million and $400 million in their IRA. And those people are very, very conscious of always keeping that IRA money active. And yet, I can tell you two statistics that just make me shake my head. The first statistic is that 92% of the people who have a retirement plan at work on that first day, and you did it, you were there because we all did it. We all had a first day at work someplace. And they asked you, okay, fill out this form. This is for your retirement plan. And you filled out your name and your address and your social security number, et cetera, and a couple other little items. And then it asked you, what kind of an investor are you? Are you conservative? Are you moderate? Or are you aggressive? And you're sitting there or standing there at the counter, and you don't know what you are. And you don't want to say, I don't know what the hell I am. So what you do is you check one. Here's the thing that amazes me. 92% of people never go back and change their original selection when their original selection was made on the spot with no thought. And that is an amazing thing. Now, what is also an amazing statistic to me is we have people who have $100 million IRAs, $200 million IRAs, $400 million IRAs, and much, much larger. And yet, one half the people who have a self-directed IRA make one investment and never make another investment. And the point is, you can grow these things to unlimited. There is no limit on the upper end size of IRAs. I mean, we're doing another podcast here. We'll talk about a guy named Peter Thiel, who has a $5 billion IRA. We'll talk about him a bit.
A Roth IRA.
Roth, yes. Roth IRA, yes. Better yet. So what you want to do is get money into the IRA, keep it active, and with a self-directed IRA, endless. One last thing. I had one last thing that I did want to talk about, and that is the solo 401k can borrow. Now, let's say that I have a solo 401k. I've been putting money into it. It's made a few investments. I like the investments. I'm holding on to those investments. I have about $200,000 in the IRA, in the solo 401k, I should say. I have about $200,000, and I find an investment that I really like. I think this investment is just wonderful, but it's going to need $250,000. Am I shut out of that investment? And the answer is no. Solo 401ks can borrow money. So if you have your solo 401k here with IRA Club, call us up and we'll give you the names of people and companies that lend to solo 401ks.
So, Dennis, can you give our listeners some tips on what they should do as their business continues to grow? And perhaps maybe now comes a time where they do need to hire a full-time employee, someone other than their spouse. And also, as their account continues to grow, can you tell us a little bit about the 5500 form that they might need to submit?
Thank you very much on the 5500. So the 5500 form is a form that does need to be filed with the Internal Revenue Service every year once your account reaches $250,000. And once your account reaches $250,000, we will file that for you if your account is here. If you've got this on your own, you're going to do it on your own. But 5500 is a form that does get filed with the IRS. It is probably one of the most common things that people forget and does cause a penalty for not filing. So we do those on your behalf. And what was your other question?
The other question was, what would one do if they are
the business
ready
grows.
to hire a full-time employee and now we have to maybe relook at the account? What are some services that IRA Club can provide, or what should the business owner do?
Well, that's wonderful. You're going to mothball your solo 401k. At that point, and hopefully maybe your business does grow and you're happy, and that's grand. So you're going to mothball your 401k, solo 401k. It's going to keep investing. Remember that it doesn't go away. It's still, we're just no longer contributing to it. And you're going to start a small business plan. Small business plans are plans for businesses under, 199 people, and takes a while to get to 199 employees. So small business plans and IRA Club can be very, very helpful with that. And we also make it very easy for the employee to process their investments.
So on today's podcast, we learned about the solo 401k and all of the advantages that it has versus a 401k that you might have at a job or a traditional or Roth IRA. It has much higher contribution limits. You are able to take out a loan, and then you're also able to invest in alternative assets. So you really do have complete control on how much money you're going to put aside into this retirement plan, whether you want to put it in a traditional bucket or a Roth bucket. Both have their advantages, so you can work with your CPA on what is best for you and your business, and then also just all of the different investment options, because as we know, it's important to not just put money aside, but to get that money invested so it could benefit you and your family in the future. So for more information, make sure that you check out the show notes, and you can also visit us at www.iraclub.com/podcast for other podcasts and all of our notes and great resources. So thanks again, and hope to see you soon.
The information contained herein is intended to help the viewer successfully navigate common IRS and Department of Labor requirements to help achieve successful results from their IRA. The information is not intended to replace information from your legal counsel or income tax professional. IRA Club does not offer or sell any investment. All investments have risk.